So there we go. So we're live with Matthew Porretta. Matthew, thank you very much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So I have a ton of questions for you. I suppose the first one that I would like to ask is, Alan Wake 1 came out in 2010.
Right.
And we're still talking about it in 2024. So
it's remarkable. I mean, amazing if it's amazing for you, just think of it for me. I can't believe it's still happening. So it's been quite a ride. I mean, one audition 14 years ago, and it's grown into something and a relationship with Remedy that has been absolutely incredible, really. So I'm glad people like it.
And how does it feel to inhabit that character for so long?
Natural. I mean, it's something that I've been doing for so long. It's just something that you kind of slip into very easily. So if we have months or years off, and then you get into the booth and they give me I get the script. I don't go, well, how did I do this before? It just kind of, it flows. It's in me now. Yeah.
And I suppose also, there's, how do I phrase this? There's differences between the first game and the second game. We know the first game was, I suppose, an action shooter, and the second game was a survival horror. Did you kind of actively think about how you might change your performance between games?
The first game, it was very almost kind of presentational in the way that we did the manuscript pages. There was a lot of that, and I felt as time has gone on, Alan has become more human, and I think you're getting more levels of Alan, especially in Alan Wake 2.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of a progressive thing that happened, and it really it was in the writing. It's what they did with it. So you kind of that's what's so good about this game, is that the writing is so good, and so you really just have to say it, and it just kind of you get the difference, you know what I mean? Because it's just out of what you're saying. So,
did you feel kind of coming back to Alan Wake 2 that, with the gap, that was like, well, who's this character again?
You hope your voice doesn't change. That's but no, we were all so hungry to do it again, and I think that's what makes this game so good, is that people are excited and hungry to do it. So we were when it all came together. I mean, game on. We were so excited. So
Alan's not the only character who's undergone that kind of tonal shift or tonal change. So we had Mr. Scratch from American Nightmare.
Yeah.
And he's quite different now.
Yeah. That was actually something that I did have to try to figure out. Was Scratch in American Nightmare was kind of this. There was something kind of. There was something very human about him, very sophisticated, very kind of like playful, like a cat with a ball of yarn. You know what I mean? And he was. Scratch is like, am I going to hit you or am I going to kiss you? Like, you didn't really know where he was going. And that's kind of what made him incredibly dangerous. And there's kind of a seductive quality about him. So this one was full on monster, right? So it was, so I had to figure out how to do that, but also to keep humanity into it, into that character when he's talking. So that was it took a little bit of doing.
Was he hard on the vocal cords?
It was.
I would say so.
It was. You get kind of used to it, though. That's, thankfully, I didn't lose my voice, but you can.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, 4 hours of that.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm looking down at my notes here, just in case you're wondering what I'm doing. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about was a lot of people, when I said I was interviewing you, reached out without questions, but they wanted to just say, congratulate you and say you were amazing in a particular sequence, which is the I'm drowning sequence. Do you know what I'm talking about? So Alan kind of loses his mind at one point.
I think those moments really, it's the people that I work with give you an environment where you can really go there, and it's those moments that are like private moments that are moments. It's like terrifying moments that you can share. That it's like that. That's what can be very effective and affect people. They're like, oh my god. But that is so nice to hear. And maybe I feel like I'm drowning. I'm like locking into moments of my life. Just sharing my personal pain with you people. That's all.
I think it resonated with a lot of people, and I think people just felt the same. Maybe they were connecting to some moments in their own lives, but like for me personally, I just thought it underpinned the whole tone of the game. It was like the perfect moment. It was brilliant.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, as I said, it's such a group effort that we do, and I love working with Remedy. I love Hannah Price was my director in the booth, and just we click, and there's like we talk. It's like I know what she wants. She knows how to tell me. It's very it's safe, and it's really a great experience.
Yeah, there probably weren't many technical differences for you then between games, were there? I know obviously the technology moved on in terms of the game and
I mean that's what makes it so real, right? The technology is flying, but for me, no, I'm in the booth. I do my stuff. I mean when I did Darling, same thing. It's live action, so and not I'm not doing mocap for that. So it's just it's this pretty much the same.
Okay, yeah. Also, people mentioned that they were saying, Matthew is. I'm just reading this out. It says Matthew. At one point, you were doing Deputy Thornton in the manuscript pages,
right?
And it said that Matthew Porretta is voicing Alan Wake, voicing Deputy Thornton, voicing SAG actors.
Yeah. Remy. It's like Sam is so great. He lets us. He gives us so much opportunity to do so many different things. And he kind of lets everybody shine in different ways. And we're always given opportunities to do different things. So it's amazing, super fun.
It was great. There's videos of that actually online. Of that line. It's great. Okay, so I want to talk to you about music.
Yeah.
And obviously Herald of Darkness. Did the guys at Remedy know that you could sing before they hired you, or did they just tap into that at some point and say, hey,
I don't think they knew when I was hired immediately. I remember early on, in the beginning of the game, Sam was in New York. We were having coffee. We were talking, and I was just clowning around with him, saying Alan Wake the musical, just kind of, and he locked in on me and was like, "No, that's going to happen." I was like, Oh, okay. Cool. But I haven't sung in many, many, many years. So it's there's that thing where you go, can I still do it? But again, I'm in a booth, and with the old gods of Asgard, with Poets of the Fall, all the guys were there.
Yeah.
Super cool, excellent. I mean, incredible musicians, and they, just guiding me through all that. So it was.
Yeah, and a number of different singing styles as well. Like you had jazz, I think part 3 or part 4.
Yeah, the jazz. Yeah, it was. That was really fun. I love that song.
It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I think everybody loves that song.
No, it's one of those things you go like, God, I wanted a little bit longer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The full version. Yeah,
maybe one day.
Yeah.
And the VGA awards were streamed to 180 million people.
Whoa.
Did you know that?
I didn't know the exact number. Yeah. I knew it was. I knew it was up there. But it's very funny. As soon as somebody gives you that number, your immediate response is like, and then there's that moment where you go, you can't even process that number. So then you're like, whatever, And it's the same as when you go. The Peacock Theater is 7,000 people. You go, wow, 7,000 people. But it is so much easier to perform in front of 7,000 people than 6 people in a room. It's just way more personal. Yeah. So it's like when you go out there, it's just like, an ocean of people, and it's not. It isn't as frightening as you think. It isn't, but it is. That is a lot of people. That's a lot.
I kind of wondered, I watched the live stream and I was looking at the people in the audience, and they were obviously enjoying themselves. But I was thinking, I don't know if these people understand what the setup means.
No, we expected people to go nuts, right? So David and I kick it off, right? And we walked in. I was waiting for people to stand, but they didn't, and so that was a little bit unnerving for us. And we did laugh about it. We were kind of laughing about it on stage. We were expecting to be like that, to be this huge response, but the response was really, I think, people watching it, from at home. That response was just amazing.
I think that's where it was, the response.
Absolutely. What was interesting, I had never performed. I'd never performed something where I was in the house watching the show for that whole show, and then I'm there for hours sitting in the house watching the show, and then they go, "Okay, we're ready for you."
Get up.
Yeah, get up. I'm like, I've never performed for an audience that I was in. I think that's the term.
And now go back to your seat.
No. It's exactly what happened. We finished.
Oh my God.
We went back. We got changed, and then they brought us back to our seats in the house, and everyone's just like, we just. Like,
what did I just do?
Yeah, we just saw you on stage, didn't we?
That was me.
Yeah, really
That's
fun.
Great. That was fantastic, and that song is just amazing. I love it.
I agree.
I love
really,
that song.
really good.
Yeah. And I'm presuming you weren't nervous really on stage, were you?
You know what? I guess I was nervous about 2 weeks before. I didn't really know what to expect, and as soon as we all got to Los Angeles, then we had like 2 days of rehearsal, and then it was fine. I had never met David Harwood before, and it was just a fantastic guy, by the way. Incredible performer. And it just kind of all clicked. It all clicked. So yeah,
I
2 weeks
saw an
before.
interview. Oh, sorry, go on.
2 weeks before I was nervous, and then after that, no, it was fine.
You were fine.
Yeah.
I saw an interview with David Harwood recently, and he said he isn't a singer.
No, I mean, he's fantastic. He really is. He was like, he goes, I've never sung. And I was just like, what? Yeah, so it was firsts for a lot of things, but just, he crushed it.
Congratulations to all of you. You did a brilliant job.
Thank you so much. It was, I'm
sure 180 million people agree.
Oh my gosh. That's a big number. I didn't know it was that much. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Wow.
180 million. It's just, I can't. You can't parse that kind of number. It doesn't make sense.
180.
180.
180.
Yeah.
I thought it was over 100 million, but that's
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done. So I've seen some interviews with you before, so I probably know the answer to this question, but just for people who don't know, you're from a musical family, aren't you?
I am. Both my parents were opera singers.
Wow.
And I didn't realize how unique that was until I left home. People go, well, what did your parents do for a living? And I said, oh, they were both opera singers. And they're like, what? Really? I was like,
what?
Yeah. So music was a major part of our household. My father was not only an incredible singer, but an incredible pianist. So I don't think I'll give a shout out to my dad. I would never have achieved what I have achieved musically, certainly without my father. He was always playing for me, and I was always singing. And I was in Les Mis, and that was my big first music. That was my first big job. And
what was your role in Les Mis?
Marius. I played Marius.
Oh, okay.
And I would never have gotten that job without my father. He worked on my audition with me and everything. It was like having an accompanist I lived with, but throughout my whole life. Mm. And so I didn't realize how unique that was until you get older. You're like, oh, wow, that was kind of lucky.
Yeah. And do you play a musical instrument yourself?
I play guitar a little bit, but no. All my brothers and sisters, are way more musical than I am as far as that. Just the singing and a little bit of guitar, yeah.
And the acting.
Yeah.
the acting thing. The sideline.
Yeah.
Okay. And I wanted to ask you one more thing about the awards that I'd forgotten. Did you find it difficult to learn that dance?
No, actually, it kind of. In fact, they didn't know that I knew it. I learned it before I got on the plane, and when I got there, it had been choreographed that I was just going to stand. I was just going to stand off, and it was David Harwood that got me to dance. And so they're all dancing, and David goes, "Hang on, what about him?" And I think she goes, "Well, do you know it?" And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Well, you're doing it. You're right here." And she brought it. Yeah. So that was on the fly with that. So it was great. And the dancers that we worked with were fantastic and very helpful.
Yeah. Well, you all did a great job. It was brilliant.
Thank you. Yeah, it was fun. Really, really fun.
Yeah. Okay. So I have some Dr. Darling questions.
Okay.
Dr. Darling. I love Dr. Darling. So one of the many highlights of Alan Wake 2 was seeing these 3 videos that were in I think the New Game Plus files that people could find. And it's Dr. Darling kind of navigating his way with his little radio. It's a adorable radio.
Yeah, with
the dark place
with a hanger and
gold hanger.
Old school. Yeah.
Yeah. So, were you happy to have the chance to act opposite Ilkka Villi? Because you're both been inhabiting the same character for so long.
We've been waiting just to be in the same room, in the same frame together,
Yeah.
I would love to do more with him and together. He's, I can't say enough about how what a great performer he is, how generous he is, how smart and how talented we get along really, really well. And I've been watching him for as long as you guys. It's like I watch him perform too, and then I'll voice it. But yeah, I've been watching as long as you guys have. So
yeah. And do you think Remedy are ever tempted to make more characters for both of you?
You hope. You know, I don't know. Maybe they're sick of us. I have no idea.
We're going to lose track.
Yeah, right. Like, enough already. But I'm open.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. And a question on Dr. Darling himself. Do you see him kind of as an ethical or an unethical character? Is it a case of
that's the question about Darling, isn't it? And that's what I think what makes him really unique and just really an interesting character is that yeah, his ethics can be skewed a little bit. You know what I mean? Certainly in the in Control, you know, where he was basically it was like he was talking about collateral damage, where it's look, people are going to die, but you know, in order for us to find the truth, and yeah, it's and he's kind of there's a sincere and enthusiastic, likable quality about him, but then there's that,
yes,
which really makes him a great character. Really fun to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, fun to play.
Did you have to make a conscious decision? I'm just thinking about it myself. Did you have to make a conscious decision to differentiate Alan from Dr. Darling? Look at your voice, obviously.
Yeah, my voice was. It's funny with when I first auditioned for as Alan. It was almost a manipulation I did with my voice. You know, it was all very. It was like like a manipulation. So when I got it, I was like, "Uh-oh, I don't know if I can do that for 4 hours." You know. But then it turned into something that it was real. You know, Darling is very, very close to the way that I speak normally. You know what I mean? In my range. So I think what makes Darling different than Alan Wake is his youthful enthusiasm and his positivity in moments of absolute shite. You know, in moments of total disaster, he's still, you know, I remember, I think I've said this before, was there's a final line in Control where he says something's going to be revealed to him, and I think something beautiful, I think, or wonderful.
Yes, something wonderful.
Yes, something wonderful, I think. And I didn't know who that character was until I saw that line.
Yeah.
That's when I went, okay, I get this guy. Like I mean,
yes.
I get him, or I kind of don't, but I understand. It's almost like he sees beauty in things. You know what I mean? He's his enthusiasm and his quest for the truth is you know, can bring him to questionable places, but yeah. So I think the difference between Alan and Dr. Darling is that, you know, when things are bad, you hear it. You hear it in Alan's voice, you know, and Darling stays in this place where, you know, what's my opportunity? You know, what's the opportunity here? Yeah,
yeah. And actually, that was one of the things I did want to ask you was, you know, I think he's very beloved. You know, I see people talking about him. There's a lot of fan art with Darling. There's a lot of fan fiction. There's a whole lot of stuff. People love him. And I was going to ask you, you know, what is it? I think for me, it's the enthusiasm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's he's a youthful spirit, you know?
Yeah.
And right. And it's his enthusiasm, even
I like that, yeah.
when it's bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, it's in the writing too. It really is. The writing.
It's not all in the writing.
It is. It isn't all, but it really helps.
Yes, obviously.
It really helps. Yeah.
Yeah. So you probably can't answer this question. I'm sure you can't answer this question. But when we last saw Dr. Darling at the end of Alan Wake 2, he'd met up with Zane in the dark place.
Yeah.
And who should we be more worried about?
You know what? I know as much as you do. They now keep me in the dark.
Did you give away secrets?
It's best. It's best I don't know.
Okay.
But no, and I wouldn't tell you if I did. But
yes.
That is a great scene, though. It's like you see it, and there's something kind of ominous about it, you know. And
but I don't know who I should be more worried about.
Zane and Zane comes in, and you're like, what is this?
Uh-oh.
And what is going on? Yeah, there's a lot there.
Okay, so very serious question.
I keep ringing.
If Dr. Darling and Alan Wake were trapped in a burning building, and you could only rescue one of them, what would you do?
Well, it all depends on who am I playing at the time. It might be whoever.
That's a perfect answer.
It might be whoever costume I have on at the time. So, no, I was thinking about that. Like, what's my Sophie's choice? I don't know. I adore both these characters. I really do. I think there's a lot of levels with Darling that you don't have with Alan. There's like I was gonna say well Alan doesn't sing, but he does now.
Yes, that's true.
He does now. He didn't before. Very hard to say. It's hard to say.
So you mean Dr. Darling? You'd rescue Dr.
I can't say that for certain. Because I wouldn't leave Ilkka there.
Oh, right.
I wouldn't.
Oh, okay.
I might. I think it'd be Alan.
Okay.
Definitely it would be Alan.
Okay. It would be Alan, would it? Okay.
Yeah. I can't. It's like.
Yeah.
Can't leave Ilkka. Can you?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about. I was going to say DLCs, but we'll come to that in a moment. But the other day, Sam Lake was online and he posted a picture of himself in his mocap suit, and he said, that's the last of my acting for Alan Wake 2. So he had kind of wrapped.
Right.
And what have you done? Have you been there? Have you been kind of fishing for...
Well, I haven't been doing anything. And the thing is how they do it is I'm told literally a week before, and then I go in and I do it. And if I have been doing stuff, I wouldn't tell you anyway.
I know, yeah, okay.
So, yeah. So, and I haven't talked to Sam in a while, so, I should probably call Sam. Okay. You also did Dead by Daylight. Yes. Wow, you want to talk about screaming?
Yes, yeah.
Holy hell.
I'm going to be honest, I haven't heard you screaming. I haven't played that game. But
I scream.
When are you going to scream now?
No, I mean, unless you want me to, I might. But no, I won't. I'm good.
There's no need to scream now. But when I said I was going to interview you, I just got inundated with questions and remarks and people saying, "Oh my God, he's amazing in Dead by Daylight."
It was fun. Working with different people and with the same character, it was. I was kind of, it was like a road trip, an Alan Wake road trip, and very fun. And yes, lots of screaming, but and a different type of. It was a different type of stuff, but close. It was similar, but I mean, I do some. I'm on a hook, and I'm like, there's some gnarly stuff that happens to poor Alan, and he's still able to speak, which is.
Yeah. Ouch, this
on a
hurts.
hook and still able to scream. Yeah.
Poor Alan. He's
Yeah.
really been through the ringer.
Poor.
Oh, yes, and also Starfield.
Oh yeah, Starfield.
So you played a character called, am I pronouncing his name right? Marco Graziani.
Yes, I did. In fact, the same director who did Starfield was directing this in Dead by Daylight. Yes, I did do that, and that was rather quick. But I did a bunch of stuff for that.
Did you?
I did. I went in, and I think there were like 4 other characters. I can't even remember. I can't even remember what I did. But
that guy, I listened to that yesterday on YouTube, and I didn't recognize your voice.
What, as that character?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, I know, and you have an accent and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. That's a compliment. Thank you.
Do you ever look at, fan theories online about the game and what people think?
I have seen some stuff, and there's some brilliant ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, incredible. I don't know if Remedy is looking at them, but yeah, some of them are amazing. I'll be reading stuff, so I go, oh wow, that's I never thought of that. That's pretty good. But I mean, you've got thousands and thousands of ideas. That's what's amazing about the internet, right? That's a big that's a big writer's room.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way to describe it.
That's a big writer's room. Yeah.
So there's the one that I like, but I don't know if I believe it, but it's certainly interesting. Was that Tom Zane and Dr. Darling created Alan Wake?
I've seen that. Yeah, I have no idea where it's going. That's what it's so great is that there's always a big reveal for me too, where I'll get the script and I'll be like, oh no,
So
and my kids are always like, well, what happens? Especially my youngest, he'll start asking me, like nailing me on questions. I'm like, I don't know. Come on, I don't know. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, I won't ask you any more of them. Tom Zane is Scratch is another one. And
Tom Zane is Scratch.
All of Taken, and all of the Taken that we see in Alan's section of the Dark Place are all versions of Alan who have been killed.
Oh.
Which I like that one.
Yeah. I mean,
I think that one might be true.
It could be. We'll see. It's fun because there's so many different ones, and you just kind of go like, wow. But I think that's what's cool about this game is that they've kind of left things open, for things to happen.
Yeah.
So, certainly when Darling and Zane walk out, you're like, all right, well, what is that?
Yeah.
What next? They're like such cliffhangers. You're just kind of like, all right, well, that's going to pay off in some way. How?
I hope it does. I can't wait to find out.
I was going to say, how? I don't know.
We'll wait and see.
Yeah.
What happens. So, I'm reaching over here because I have some fan questions for you.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay. And they're great fan questions. I was just inundated with questions. There was just so many of them.
Okay. I hope I can answer.
So the first one is Nanook asks, what are Matt's go-to karaoke songs? And if you're not a karaoke person, what's your favourite music to sing along to?
Wow. Well, I haven't sung karaoke in many, many years. I think the last song I sang in karaoke was with somebody, and I think it was Raspberry Beret. Prince's song. I think that was it. I wouldn't say that's my favorite. I'm just saying that's the last song I think I sang karaoke maybe 20 years ago. And music to sing along to. I don't know. My oldest son has got a very strong 80s playlist that plays. So whenever his music comes on, I'm always just like, I can't believe he knows this music. But
I have a 19-year-old son, and he's exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's all the 80s stuff.
Yeah. So, you know,
Takes you back.
Kind of, you just find yourself just kind of singing along. You're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
So Sophie Marie asks, what was it like acting as Darling opposite Ilkka as Zane? And was it weird not being Alan?
No, because I mean we both weren't Alan, right, at that moment. So it was a long time coming, and I wish it was longer. You know, I wish our scene was longer, and it was great. You know, it's kind of, I guess the word would just be like, finally.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's such a great guy. So we were both kind of very excited to do it.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Wilco asks, how did Matthew differentiate his performance between Alan Wake 1 and 2? I think we've probably discussed this.
Yeah.
And specifically, how did you reflect the changes in Alan's life and personality between both performances?
You know, a lot of, I keep on talking about the writing. A lot of that was in the scenes that we did, right? So, you know, how my life, how my life and my...
How did Matt reflect the changes in Alan's life and personality between both performances?
You know, there was, I guess, more of an exhaustion in 2. He'd been there for a long while, and you know, in a loop, in a spiral, right? And I would imagine that gets tiring, you know. But it's funny. It's because it's almost the amount of time that it took to make 2 to 1 is the same amount of time that it was that it was in the game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it really,
13 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that kind of brings you along. That changes. You change. You know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hope that helps.
I think is that beeping you?
It is me. I turned off my you know, what is it, the
I don't know
what that thing that beeps, and it still beeps.
The thing is beeping.
The things. Everyone's
don't worry. It's fine. I don't mind. As long as it's not me.
It's me. My bad.
It's okay. So Jason asks, what other genres does Matt think Alan Wake would be good at writing, and which would Matt like to voice?
You know, I mean, aren't we starved for an Alan Wake comedy? Yeah, I mean, I would. Yeah, I think that would be. Yeah, maybe he would. Maybe he'll do you know, a television show.
Why
yes,
not?
I would like to do that as well.
Okay. Tempest from Darkling Alley asks, when it comes to Alan Wake and Dr. Darling, which of the two do you feel you identify with more on a personal level?
I think I identify with them. You know, there's me in both of them. I think it's funny. There are things in both characters that are like me, and things in both characters that are not like me at all. You know, that's a good question. I don't know if I can. I don't know. I don't know. Ding. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Which one?
It's okay not to know.
Which one do I identify with more?
Yeah. We all know though that you would leave for Darling to die in a fire. So.
Yeah, no, but I think I might identify with Darling's optimism. I think I do. I think that's, and I think that comes with being an actor. It's that hope, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And Cinnabon Matt asks,
Hello.
would you ever consider narrating audiobooks? I see people talking about that a lot, actually.
I have. That's an incredible skill. It's a really, and people that are good at it, when you listen to somebody who does a great audiobook, it's a skill. You don't want to do the character too much, like a voice of a character too much, but just enough to differentiate and storytell. It's a large amount of prep. And I know people that do it, and I'll listen to their stuff and I go, wow, that's really good. I mean, you know, I would. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is interesting. So her name is Priscilla Avlis. And she says, could Matthew share a bit of his process for the drowning segment and how many times they recorded it? And she said, I don't know, you could tell me. She said there's an introspective version in the game files.
Wow. You know, I hate to disappoint. I would have to hear them. Like I'll give them, 3 to 6 takes on one line. And I'm always, I never know which one they're going to use, you know?
Yeah.
And I suppose the question is how do I,
could you share a bit of your process and how many times they recorded it, which I think you've answered. And she said, since there's an introspective version on the game files, and she said you nailed different states of mind, and it's one of her favourite performances from you.
Maybe it's because I wasn't thinking too much, and I just did it. You know, a lot of times with, and that's what happened with Darling, the first In Control. We did all that stuff in 4 days. All of it.
Yeah, I remember hearing that. 4 days.
So, when you don't have time to think or watch yourself, sometimes you can really like lock into like pure human emotion. And so maybe that's it. It's like we're doing this, you know, we're 4 hours, we're doing this stuff, so we're doing a ton of stuff, and this happens. It's not anything that I spent too much time on, and in some respects, it's almost better.
Okay.
You know, yeah.
Very good. Okay. DP asks, Control will be celebrating its 5th anniversary this year. How does Matthew feel about the reception Dr. Darling has received over 5 years? I don't know if you know about the reception Dr. Darling has received.
You know, I do, but I don't. You know, I'm not on social media. Which.
Excuse me.
Yeah, and that just kind of happened. Social media happened, and I just didn't get on board, and then that just kind of like went. So, you know, I know when people tell me, you know, I am thrilled. I love people, you know, that they care about that character and that they appreciate my work. I love it. I love it. It you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Donna says, I'm a big fan of your work in Robin Hood Men in Tights and the New Adventures of Robin Hood, and wants me to let you know.
Oh, thank you.
That's not a question.
Yeah, it's a lot of Robin Hoods. Poor guy couldn't get it right. Let's try it again. One more. Let's go.
One more Robin Hood.
Yeah.
After playing Dead by Daylight, Anna wants to know, did they stab you in the recording booth?
Sound like it. I remember I did a lot of physical I think there was a time where I'm literally, I was doing physical, like literally trying to, I'm talking like screaming like this just so that it would sound like, because I'm looking at the visual list and I'm like, all right, well I've got to be in position. Yeah, so the
right amount of gurgle.
Yeah, that gurgle. Yeah, so they didn't stab me, but I pretended they were.
Kelly asks, what was Matthew's favourite role outside of the Remedyverse?
That's a good question. I suppose there's so many. I think probably my first, the Les Mis, Mary's and Les Mis was my first big job, and it really kicked it off for me, and it was so exciting that time. I mean, I was 23, and it was very exciting. And then I did a TV show called Deadbeat, which was here. It was on Hulu, and I played this character, Matthew Biscotti, I think his name was, and it was comedy. It was really fun. That was very, very fun.
And how long did that run for?
How many episodes did I do? Probably 5 or something like that. It ran for a couple seasons. Then I was really kind of just, I had a recurring on that. And then, Men in Tights, it's, I have friends from that. The guy who played Little John, Eric Kramer, I mean, we talk weekly, if not daily, and that's very rare to have friends on a job that you've kept for almost 30 years. So,
yes.
Yeah.
I see a lot of actors talking about, my family, and then they get another role and they never again.
No, it's true. It's true. It's like you're so close so quick. It's like insta relationship, and then and then it's like meteoric.
Yeah.
So very rare that you have like long term friendships, but especially
with great.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Spooky Alice asks.
Spooky Alice.
Matthew's favorite. The names are great.
Yeah.
Spooky Alice. Spooky Alice wants to know, what's Matthew's favorite voice line from Alan Wake 1 and 2? Do you remember them?
Alan Wake 1, I mean, probably the kickoff of that game is, I came to the small town of Bright Falls on vacation with my wife Alice. Now she's missing. I think that sticks.
That's brilliant.
Oh, and now she's missing, and then it's my fault. I think that was yeah. And Alan Wake 2. Let's see. Favorite line. It's so funny. I can think of one from 14 years ago, and the one that's just recent. I can't think of anything. Let's see. I think it was the both promos. I guess it's the promo of the first game, promo of the second game, where it's like, this story will eat you alive. That whole thing. Yeah. That was awesome.
That's a good one.
Very, very fun.
Yes, that was brilliant.
The promo stuff is fun to do. It's like it's musical. It's all about your building, their beats, and those are fun to do.
Yeah, I played the game Alan Wake 2 last Halloween, and then when I was finished it, my son played it, and after we both finished playing it, we were just quoting lines. I'd be passing him in the hallway and I'd say, "Wake, Alan Wake." And he'd say, "I have to get back to Parliament Tower."
Oh yeah, Parliament Tower, right. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's a certain feeling. It's like once it's over, there is kind of a melancholy that sets in. You know what I mean? And this last year, 2023, was just fantastic. There was just so much work and so many different places that we went, and then finally we just ended it off with the Game Awards performance, and then there was a launch party in Finland, and then it was like, then I came back, and I was like,
Oh.
Where is everybody?
Just look out the window for a while.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people who played the game felt the same way.
Yeah, right. No, I know. And like once you finish, you're like, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Next project.
Yeah, next one.
Next
thing.
Oh, yes, Mina asks, in your time working with Remedy, did you learn any Finnish?
What did I learn? Now, of course, I can't remember anything. Yeah, cheers was, yeah, I can't, I think, just cheers. That was it.
Cheers.
No, what's
Matthew,
crazy.
that's English.
Yeah, right. No, it's, kipis.
Oh, yes.
Kipis.
Yes.
They're all so good with language over there. Do you know what I mean? They're all so smart and educated. So their English is, and you can see in the game, it's that their vernacular is. And I would ask them. I said, "How do you guys know this? It's not stilted or anything like, everything that you're doing, just like American English, and it's American style, and you're listening to it, and it's not." Usually you can tell there's like a little something that's not quite right. It's not like that. And I said, "What? How do you guys do that?" And they go, "Movies."
Wow.
American movies, yeah. We watch
That's incredible.
we watch American movies. And it's kind of remarkable. But yeah, their English is,
So good.
yeah, great.
Yeah. Will I teach you a bit of Irish?
Sure. Yeah, well, let's see.
You're so nervous.
Cheers. Yeah, save this.
It'd be very, very easy. So I'll say, this is how you say, my name is Matthew.
Okay.
You say, Is
Misha
Matthew.
Is Misha Matthew.
My name is Matthew.
Is Misha
And then if
Matthew.
you wanted to say,
Is Misha Matthew.
yeah. And if you wanted to say, how are you?
Yeah.
You would say, Kunis
Kunis
Atá
Atá.
2.
What's the last one?
2.
2.
2.
Kunis Atá 2.
Yeah.
Kunis Atá 2.
So now you're Irish. We've adopted you.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
Well done. Very simple
I have a new fan.
process. Yeah. Send your passport over.
Yeah, I'm in. Let's do it.
So I've one last thing, just kind of to wrap up. And this is kind of an Irish phrase. But I'm not going to ask you to say this, but it just kind of was resonating with me a little bit. There's an Irish phrase, and it says, "Ar ska a céile varan nadini." And what that means is, we live in each other's shelter. Now you're probably wondering, what has that got to do with anything? But the word shelter can also mean shadow, or presence, or connection. And when I thought about it, I have received so many, messages over social media for you that weren't questions, that were just people saying, no question, but tell him I love him.
That means so much to me. I really, it's so nice. It's so great to hear. And I love them too.